Are you ready? Can Crushers. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody. Power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
I'm Loverboy Timothy Flowers.
And I'm Dashing Chris Ringrose, and we are the sexiest tag team in professional wrestling, the Brothers of Seduction.
And you're listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and it is spotlight time here for Can Crushers once again. I know I say this each and every week. I really do. And you guys are like, you're super excited about everybody. Scratch all this, all right? Maybe I haven't been super excited sometimes, but I'm super excited about this one because this guy gives me a little bit of a machismo look, a little bit of a suave, a little bit of a, I don't know, debonair. Maybe debonair doesn't fit, but I am having Jordan Carlyle come on the show today to talk all things his career, professional wrestling, and whatever else we get into. I'm super excited about this. I really am. You know how much I know about Jordan Carlyle? Minimal, because I did some homework. And you know I don't do a lot of homework anymore because I love hearing the stories first from them, how they got into wrestling, and all of that. We had a text group going on, message, whatever going on, and he sent me his picture, his promo picture, and I instantly said, machismo. So that, you should understand where I'm going with this. You should understand when I do the comparison where I'm going with this. Again, FTC, Art of Grappling, is his home. So, again, thanks to Brock's Boulder, saying, hey, come on, Can Crushers, and talk wrestling, do some promos, do your thing. I love that. Brock, so you're listening, thank you very much once again. But this is all about Jordan. I can't wait to hear his story. I want to know why, who, what, everything like that. So we're going to get right into it. We really are. But we have to do something first. We have to pay the bills, of course. And we have to pay the bills this time because we didn't pay him on the weekend because me and Sir Michael Jenks kind of skipped over it. So I will say this. Go out and buy the hell out of collar and elbow t-shirts. Buy them all. Buy the Shad Gaspar one. Buy the Nitro one. Buy the Raw one. Buy the Dusty one. Buy Head and Al as Macho Man. Buy them all. Just load up your cart because, one, you won't be disappointed. The shirts last freaking forever. Listen, 5 years into this, I've had shirts for 5 years from these guys. Nothing has ever gone wrong with them. They're amazing. A hoodie, everything. Have pants, sweatpants now. They're awesome. Everything you need, wrestling apparel, is at Collar and Elbow. Just use the promo code CANCRUSHERS. All one word, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers. You'll save 10% on your entire order. The more you buy, the more you save. Well, I don't know about that. Because just buy a lot. All right? Just buy a lot and you'll get 10% off of your entire order. That's pretty cool within itself. Guys, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is always opened. It's at CanCrusher69. Join the conversation. Started your conversation. Reach out to us. Tell us, people, if you want to slide in our Instagram DMs or whatever and get on the show, go ahead. Reach out. We love having independent stars, legends, everything on the show to talk wrestling and learn their story. Because that's what I love. This is like the personal touch. The spotlight is the personal touch for me of professional wrestling to get them know a little bit better, especially with the hard-hitting questions that I ask on all the spotlights. And don't forget, we have a Gmail. We do have a Gmail. It's called Email, Mark. It's cancrusher69@gmail.com. make sure you send us emails as well. Even though, as my son said, man, you're still getting emails. Nobody does that anymore. It's all DMs, Dad, or whatever. That's what it is. That's what it is, but we're still old school here on Can Crushers. So join us. Join Indie Wrestling. And again, guys, it is May. So Mental Health Awareness Month is upon us. If you heard, we talk about this a lot because we're strong advocates for mental health awareness. 988 is the number to use if you need to talk to somebody, or you can text to keep it kind of just in your wheelhouse if you're a big texter. And NAMI.org, BetterHealth.com are two great places to go if you need help. Again, CanCrusher69 at gmail.com is always open. We'll reach out. We'll talk. Slide into our DMs. We're here. You are enough. You are loved. We are here with you. Can Crusher Nation is one crazy family, and we love you. We never want you to veer off from the nation. So, yeah, and do some study. Do some study on some of those websites because everybody suffers. I will say that everybody suffers of some sort, and it is something that we need to be brought into light more. So Mental Health Awareness Month here in May is a big to-do for us. All right, here comes Al to tell you more about Collar and Elbow. We come back. Jordan Carlyle waiting on the line right now as I do this intro. So, yeah, here comes Al.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey y'all, this is Sarah Bubbles. Keep listening to Can Crushers.
And welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Guys, you heard in the intro how excited I was because I keep getting people fed to me from the Art of Grappling. This is really awesome. This guy is probably the best dresser there. I'm super excited to have Jordan Carlyle on the show. Jordan, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, and thank you. I am definitely the best dresser at the Art of Grappling at FTC. That is absolutely true. But yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I saw everything, and I'm like, man. So I pointed to my wife as well. I said, I need more shirts like this. She laughed at me. She's like, you can't pull that off. He's a good-looking human being.
I mean, I think everybody can, because there's a difference, and it's all in the quality of the shirt. It's like how they're done, because there's like a thin line between making it look cool and making it look like an uncle shirt. And it's all in the shirt. It's not the person that wears it.
I think she already thinks I'm the uncle, so it doesn't matter. So, yeah, but we're going on a cruise. I said, these are great cruise shirts. I said, this is what I need. She's like, just you be you. I'm like, all right.
And there's some you can get custom ones too. There's a referee I know, him and his wife got custom shirts that look like that have their own faces on them.
That's a little weird though. Does he have his face on his shirt or her face?
She had his face on her shirt and vice versa.
Okay.
So they had each other's faces on their own shirts.
All right, as long as you don't have your own face, and I don't know this referee. Maybe I do know this referee. I apologize if I do. I think it's weird if you be wearing your own face. Like, maybe in the wrestling world, it's okay. But just outside the wrestling world, if I have my own face on my shirt going to, like, Dollar General or someplace like that, they're like, what is this weirdo doing?
I don't know. I'd be intrigued to talk to him at that point. Like, I want to know what this guy's about. Like, what's happening here?
Or run. Either way.
Or run. Well, find out pretty quick if you strike up a conversation with him.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That's your introduction, by the way, to Jordan Carlyle. How did you discover wrestling? Mom, Dad, Grandpa Joe, Aunt Jan? Who said, Jordan, you have to watch this?
So I grew up in a household with my grandparents and aunt, uncle. My mom lived there. So it was a pretty big family. And my aunt and my mom were the ones that were actually the huge wrestling fans. And they'd take me to all the wrestling shows. That anytime that they would come through Huntington, West Virginia, we'd always go to the old WWF shows. Which, by the way, I turned 37, so to kind of give you a timeline, I started going to wrestling shows whenever I was about 5 years old. So, well, 1991 is whenever I started.
Did you see? Let me jump in real quick. Did you see WWF shows prior to knowing? Because you're younger than me, but not much. What I'm trying to say is you're an older wrestler, and I hate to say it like that. I apologize because talking to the young kids, the 21s, this, that, and the other, they would have seen independent wrestling first. They kind of do. Did you see independent wrestling first, or did you know WWF first? Because I only knew WWF, NWA, and all those prior to independent even being around.
Yeah, I didn't even know anything about independent wrestling. It was just, WWF, WCW. That's
those. Okay, go ahead. I apologize. I jumped right in. I normally never jump in on people. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. That's all I knew was just WWF, WCW, and then, they would take me to see shows, and, I grew up having all the action figures, the T-shirts, and whenever I was a little kid, I dressed up as the Ultimate Warrior for Halloween, which, odd choice now thinking about it. Like, if I were to dress up as a wrestler now, I don't think I would choose Ultimate Warrior, but then again, a 37-year-old man dressing as another wrestler for Halloween is kind of strange.
No, I just returned from 80s WrestleCon, and let me tell you, some of the cosplay stuff, there was amazing costumes of, again, Dusty, Sergeant Slaughter, Adrian Adonis, Honky Tonk Man. I was jealous because the only thing I can ever pull off is probably Arn Anderson. I got the balding spot. I can wear the khakis and like a polo shirt.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole different thing between, like a con, because I think that's an art form in its own.
It really is.
People come up with to go to those. But yeah, because I've seen some pretty strange modern wrestling Halloween costumes that you can just go to the store and find. Like I found one that was it was Seth Rollins, and they had his like ring gear and everything, but then also they had like his face. Like it was a mask that you put on that was Seth Rollins' face, and it was like a cartoon version. And it was like one of the creepiest things I've ever seen.
I did see that one actually. What it was called, Spirits or whatever. That Halloween Spirit store around here had one. It definitely looked like, I don't know, maybe Kane and Bray Wyatt had a baby and it was Seth Rollins. It was a demon, and I know that's highly impossible to do, whatever, but you understand, I'm messed up in the head today. It is just, it was a demented Seth Rollins. It looked horrible.
Yeah, if I was Seth Rollins and I just happened to be going through a Halloween store and saw that, I'd be terrified.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so mom and your aunt took you to wrestling. They were big fans themselves, or were they like, oh, we're just bringing Jordan to wrestling?
Absolutely. Yeah, they were huge fans. One of my aunts actually back in the day, she dated one of the referees. And so whenever we'd go, like sometimes they'd go and hang out with some of the wrestlers after the show. And, me being a child, they would just let me run free in the hotel.
Nice. That's always a plus. I'm sure there's stories there, but nothing that we need to get anybody in trouble for.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a crazy time because, now these days, hearing about, just letting a child kind of run free in a hotel, like, you don't hear about that anymore.
You're not allowed letting them run free in their yard half the time because you're worried about the people outside. I agree.
Yeah, even in my own neighborhood, you don't really see kids going out, like riding bikes or hanging out so much these days.
And this is a whole nother podcast. Maybe we'll start something up between me and Jordan talking about how you can let kids run around outside. But yeah, that was my childhood. It was literally you wake up in the morning in the summer, and if your rear end isn't home by the time the lights came on, you got beat. Yeah. So you didn't come home.
Always the street lights. Once the street lights come on home.
Yeah. All right, we're all over the place. Favorites then growing up. Clearly, Ultimate Warrior, you dressed up as him, right?
Oh, yeah. And then, I mean, like the obvious, like most people's favorites, you know, like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. I always really looked up to Razor Ramon, Scott Hall.
I could tell.
Yeah. Because I always loved those original promos that he cut, like before he actually had his first match in WWF.
Yeah.
Like the Chico, they for fun, man. Like those were so good. I love those.
I know we have a little 10 years, whatever. Did you know that Razor Ramon was Scott Hall from AWA? It blew my mind. I'd never put two and two together.
See, I didn't know who Scott Hall was before Razor Ramon.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the first time seeing. Because I would hear like whenever the Undertaker first showed up, like my mom was like, "Oh, that's Mean Mark, Calloway," and I'd be like, "I don't know who the hell that is."
Right.
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, the transformation from Scott Hall to Razor Ramon literally blew my friend circle's mind. Were like, "Oh my God." And it was just shaving his mustache. But we were so innocent or stupid or naive, maybe is the best word to use, that we just thought this was a different person.
Yeah, whenever he had that mustache, it made him look like he was like 10 years older than whenever he was Razor Ramon.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple names you already said. I think I have you pegged when we get to Who Is Jordan. So I'm really excited about this. Patting myself on the back already.
Nice.
What was the first match that you remember? Because I'm sure you saw some when you were a little guy, but what is that moment that said, "Oh, this is the greatest thing in the world"?
Because I want to dig something out that was from whenever I really first started watching it, but like thinking back, God, like there's the like 1, 2, 3 Kid versus Razor Ramon, like on Raw where he'd like beat him, and there was the Iron Man match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, but those weren't like the earliest matches that I've seen, but those are two that really just popped up in my head, just now.
No, and I understand that because mine, I go back all the time. I remember seeing Hogan Orndorff in the cage. I remember seeing, WrestleMania 1. I remember seeing them, and they're memories that now that I can just, oh yeah, I remember this, I remember that. But it's always what made you love wrestling, and mine's always going to kind of be Macho Man against Steamboat WrestleMania 3. That's the first match that when people are talking about wrestling, I always bring that up. I'm like, this is my match. This is my match to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So that's really cool. I love all those. So growing up then, what did you do? You're actively involved in sports, right? Because you got the frame, I can tell just from the clips that you were sports oriented, right?
Yeah, I played sports up until high school, and then I quit. I became I love playing baseball, football. I really sucked at basketball, but I tried at it anyways. And then up until high school, whenever kids start coming up with their own little cliques, their groups, I didn't get along with anybody anymore. So I quit playing sports in high school, and I started playing music. So after that, up until high school, I played sports, and then after that, I was a musician.
What did you play? What are you? What band member are you?
So I got very lucky because, like I was saying earlier, I grew up, at my grandparents' house. So we had this basement. I started playing guitar, and then I had friends that wanted to play music, and I had the only place to, hang out and play music. So they would leave all their instruments, and I had like a whole band's worth of equipment in my basement. So I kind of taught myself how to play everything.
Wow.
And then whenever I toured as a drummer, that's whenever I got to travel around and do all that fun stuff. So I toured as a drummer, but I started on guitar.
So you're telling me this isn't just like Mark and the guys hanging out in the back having a couple beers, but you legit toured. Do you have stuff out there that we need to know about? I didn't know this. This is why I love doing this podcast. So
the band that I toured with, I'm not in the band anymore, but they still I believe they're still playing, but they were called The End of the Ocean. It's post rock, which a lot of people don't know what post rock is. And the way I always kind of explain it is it's like cinematic music, but with like rock instrumentation. So they got like bass, guitar, drums, and a keyboardist. But they play music that's like really like epic and kind of like movie music.
if you, and I'm not holding this against you, if you listen to any of our past shows, our weekend shows, we were just talking about movie music. Like, there's times I jump in the garbage truck and I will throw Star Wars on, or I'll throw like Broadway music on, and the guys in the back hear me then, and they're like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, "That's what I feel today. It literally is what I feel today." So I'm singing Annie, or, you know, you're listening to Star Wars as the guys are in the back picking up garbage. That gets weird looks at like 7 o'clock in the morning, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, my fiance, her dad was a garbage man, and like, I could imagine like the you don't really get a whole lot of people that would have that similar interest in music and that type of work, I would imagine.
Right. Yeah, it is. Listen, where we're from, it's country or rock. Some people dabble in a little bit of, the kids dabble in the pop or anything, but there's one or the other here. Boom, that's it. You have me, the weirdo in town. They're like, "Oh, Mark's driving today."
That's great, though. I always love having a diverse taste in music, because like you ever hear like metal musicians are always like, "Oh, only listen to metal and that's all there is." It's like, how are you going to learn anything else if you just listen to one thing?
Agreed.
It doesn't make any sense.
And I'm sure you've heard this. Like, music is your soundtrack of life, and there's so much up, down, left, right, whatever going on. You can relate to anything. There's times that I will listen to heavy metal. There's times I'll listen to rap. There's times it's just what I'm feeling, and it's really cool. I am moved by music. I can't sing, and playing an instrument, well, that's worse than singing. I have 3 left hands.
That's one thing I never got good at, was singing. I did backups, but I was never like a lead singer or anything.
So we'll never hear your vocals?
Maybe. So I'll probably get to the age where I'm like, you know what? I don't care what anybody else thinks, and then just do whatever I want. But yeah,
that's karaoke for me after a few drinks. So,
for sure.
Yeah. So when was that moment then? And I know you're going to say, as soon as mom and my aunt took me to a wrestling show, I knew I was going to be a wrestler. Come on. When was the real moment that, you know, after school and after everything, you're like, I'm giving this a shot?
Okay, absolutely. So, yeah, it's not whenever I was a kid. I wanted to be one as a kid, but, you know, I also wanted to be a musician. And
a fireman, and a an astronaut, and a dog walker. Yeah, right.
But I didn't really jump into it until maybe my mid-20s. I didn't actually start wrestling I didn't start training to be a wrestler until I was 32 years old. I've only been doing this for about 4.5 years. So, I did the music thing throughout my 20s. Whenever I hit about 25, I wanted to find a wrestling school, but there wasn't anything around Ironton, Ohio. And I didn't have a car at the time. And whenever, you know, you're a musician, you have a whole band of people that drive around.
Right.
So I didn't really need a car at the time. But whenever I did start training, I started in Lancaster, Ohio, which is like 2-hour drive up there. So it's like a 4-hour round trip. I did that up there for about 3 years. Didn't start training until I was 32.
But what was that moment? It was just, I'm going to give this a shot? Or did something, like, do you actively still watch wrestling that made you say, yeah, I'm going to do this? Yeah,
it was pretty much just watching it. I was living by myself in Huntington, West Virginia, and then I got the WWE Network. This was like back in, I don't know, maybe like 2012, 2013.
As soon as it came out then, yeah.
Yeah. So I started watching it again. I was like, I really want to do this. And then I would look up wrestling schools, and I'm like, I don't have a car. I can't drive over there. And then once I hit 30 years old, I started going to the gym. Like, I used to weigh like 140 pounds. I was like a really skinny guy. And I didn't start hitting the gym until I was 30. So,
wow.
As soon as I started doing that, I was like, all right, I feel like I'm starting to get like the look for it. And then I started going to the wrestling school up in Lancaster, Ohio.
So why the switch to Art of Grappling then?
So just going up there for 3 years. Art of Grappling is right in my hometown.
Right.
It's a 5-minute drive from my house. And just seeing like FTC shows, because I'd go to them whenever they threw shows down here. And I was really impressed with the just how everything looked, like the talent that they would bring in. They would bring people in from all over. And it was just something that I wanted to get into.
And you have to say Bobby Blaze, right? Because
yes, I was about to say, and they have Bobby Blaze.
Right.
No offense to the guys up in Lancaster, Ohio, but they didn't have Bobby Blaze.
Right. Like, I try every time I talk to you guys, and even on other shows, I try to put Bobby over as much because he is getting it now, but he wasn't getting it prior. And he just watching some of the stuff that you guys at FTC and Art are putting out is amazing, and it really is, and it's thanks to him. It really is that he's just sprinkling this, sprinkling that, and throwing the others as well. And I'm not this show. I'm not making fun of Brox or Titan, but with my boys, the Brother Seduction is how I was. But yeah, it is all of you guys, and it's really freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Dan. But yeah, we even had Rip Rogers do a seminar at the school last week. And we're apparently doing it right. Bobby's doing it right because, I watched Rip's podcast that he did like a week later. He's wearing an FTC shirt.
Yeah.
So, that really says something.
I had a couple, not bad, I'm just going to say it like this anyway. I had a couple run-ins with Rip when we were down with OVW a couple times. Al Snow and I, not me, but, I was invited to his training, but Rip was also there as well. Rip is another genius in professional wrestling. Really.
Says exactly what he's thinking.
Wait, would you say you kind of went out?
I said, very honest man says exactly what he's thinking.
Blunt is the way that we'll put that. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your training. You said you've been in it too, rounding 5 years now. First day of training, what were you going and expecting? What did you think? Did you talk to somebody prior to training saying they're going to beat the snot out of you, and then they're, the old Ole Anderson thing, we're going to break you to see if you really come back?
Oh, I just jumped right into it. Like, as soon as I found a school that I could drive to, I messaged them and was like, hey, can I come? They did like a free trial, like your first day's free. And, I just went up there. I watched some videos on YouTube to kind of see what I could expect. And I'm thinking like, yep, this is definitely going to hurt. So like, I got up there and they just had you do this thing where they show you how to take a bump. They give you a body slam and they show you how to run the ropes. That was pretty much it, and then afterwards you kind of just sit and watch, them teach the class and everything. I just did those few things. And by the way, a lot of people don't think about this that aren't wrestlers, but hitting the ropes at first, it leaves bruises all over your back.
It's god awful. It's god awful.
Eventually you get used to it. You kind of build up a tolerance to it. But yeah, I drove home that night. I felt like I drank like 10 beers. I thought I was drunk. Like it kicked in immediately. But yeah, it was rough. And then,
so were you thinking, maybe, maybe not? Did that ever go through your head, or were you just so stoked that you're like, yeah, this is where I need to be?
100%. I loved it. I knew I wasn't going to quit. A lot of times in training, they're pretty rough on you. Like if you're falling behind, they're going to tell you how it is, and they're going to be rough on you. But you just got to power through it. That always motivated me even more. I know a lot of people have made them want to quit because they thought that they were like making fun of them. It's like, no, they're trying to toughen you up.
Yeah. And that's really what it is. And making sure that you're safe is that, half of being the air quotes tough is understanding, all right, this is what you have to do to make yourself safe as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because they got to be tough on you, like especially if you're not handling people right, you could kill somebody.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. What was your hardest thing in training to kind of grasp onto? Because everybody's got one thing. Maybe running the ropes sucked, but you did it well, or the physicality is good, but what was the storytelling, the mental aspect of it? What was your, oh man, this one, I can't get this?
Oh, 100% ring psychology. and telling a story. That's the toughest, because I mean you're doing something so physical, and then at the same time you got to tell a story.
Yeah.
To me, that's the toughest. But that's also my favorite thing about wrestling, because I mean, like, anybody could go in and know like 100. They could teach themselves like 100 different submission holds or different moves, but I mean that doesn't mean anything if you can't tell a story.
It's the selling. It's why you're doing it. It's not, I'm going to do a power slam and a drop kick, and that doesn't make sense whatsoever. But this is the putting the match together, right?
Yeah, and I don't know why YouTube has been doing this to me lately, but I'll go on YouTube and it's giving me all these like backyard wrestling like stuff, and some of them are actually kind of impressive. Like, they know all these moves, but then like it's stupid because they don't know anything about ring psychology.
You don't know where they're going next. We must have the same YouTube recommendations right now, because it actually popped up, and I'm like, what is this?
I've never even looked for it, but it's just giving it to me.
Yeah, I'm not a strong component or advocate for backyard wrestling, because kind of being in it now, back as a ring announcer and doing this and everything, I just don't want injuries. And I might not know the kid down the road or anything, but I know if he's jumping off his mom's house, something bad is normally going to happen. And good Lord, don't.
See, okay, me and my friends would wrestle in the yard as a kid, but we never tried to start our own promotion or nothing. We would just throw around little matches. We did do a ladder match once, I remember that. But we also had an in-ground pool, and there's quite a few times I definitely jumped off the roof, done like swanton bombs into the pool, that kind of thing.
Oh my God. I never see, again, as a child, we had matches. They were a body slam or a punch or a clothesline, something like that. And I don't even know if we were taking like legit bumps. We just like fall down, like actors fall. And God, this is going to get me over real well. But a fake actor falling down, like comedy shtick or something like that. You just fall like that to make it funny or anything. We never went to the top of, definitely not my house or the fence or anything. We kind of kept everything low key. If we were saying off the top rope, you had to announce it. When the guy's laying down, I'm on the top rope, and then you just land with an elbow or something. But yeah, you kids jumping off roofs and stuff. What was Mom saying to that?
Oh gosh, it was. Eventually, they just gave up. But it was whenever we broke the fence that they kind of had to draw the line there. It's like whenever we started breaking stuff, and that was whenever it became a problem.
He's a lost cause. Just let him go.
Well, because we also had trees in our yard, like climbable trees. Like, so we would, whenever we did the ladder match that I was telling you about, we tied a string from one tree to the next. And then, we put a ladder in the middle. But we were also climbing in the trees and knocking each other out of that. And it was really stupid. But, we were kids. We were having fun.
Any broken bones? Any
no,
injury?
never.
Oh, well, then you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Maybe a concussion because, I don't remember. So
yeah, legit, you don't remember.
So maybe a concussion or two, but
Yeah, because we never got. I'm now instantly throwing you in my age group, because we never got tested for concussions back then. Nothing. You just wipe dirt on it, get up. Shut up, kid.
I don't know if kids get beat up by other kids now anymore.
I don't think they do. I really don't.
There were so many times I got the crap beat out of me because I had an older cousin, and like him and his friends, they'd always mess with us. I remember at one point I think they were gambling on us. They would make me and my friends fight, and then they would like watch us fight.
That's awesome. We're not condoning it, by the way. Don't cancel us, but that's awesome.
That was the night.
Kid, yeah, it really was. Kid fights. All right, who do you got? Who do you got? Give me $1. Give me $1.
Yeah, they just hang out in the trees, watch us, and laugh, and like, oh my God, like whenever a kid would get punched in the face.
Nice. You had a great childhood. Let's just say it that way.
It was fun, but yet painful. But I mean, also as an adult, I'm doing wrestling now, so that's also really painful. I guess it kind of carried on through the years. I just took a break whenever I was a musician.
Right. You had to find your soul, find yourself to come back to wrestling.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your first match. Give me all the deets. What are you feeling? How do you feel after? Is it just everything you wanted? And I know you have continued. You said we've been in the business for about 5 years. But were you happy enough after that first match to say, if this never happens again, I won?
Okay. So, all right. So my first match that I was involved in was a battle royal. I almost don't count it because battle royal,
Right.
it's not like a singles match or a tag match or anything. So just going through the curtain though, it was very surreal. I mean, you train for this, you watch it on TV, and then you go through the curtain, and it was a pretty good sized crowd for my first time. It wasn't like 10, 12 people. It was probably 100 to 200 people maybe.
Nice.
And it was in kind of a smaller venue, so it made it seem a lot bigger than what it was too. But
You're like at Madison Square Garden. Everybody's there to see you. Yes.
but the whole room looks really packed, and I go through the curtain, it's just surreal. And you go through the match, it doesn't even feel like it happened. Like it almost feels like a dream. But my first singles match, it was probably a couple weeks after that, I think, because the promotion I started with, they did like 2 shows a month. I think it was a couple weeks later, but it was a singles match, and I Pearl Harbored the guy as soon as I got in the ring. He was like their former United States champion, kind of that deal. So they had me go in, like I Pearl Harbored him, and then after he got back on top, he just beat the crap out of me.
One and done. One and done.
It was a very short match, but it was my first singles. I mean, how am I going to pull up and just annihilate,
That's like a welcoming into wrestling anyway.
Yeah. I don't look like somebody like Brock Lesnar. I'm not like super jacked. Like I exercise, I lift weights and stuff, but I'm not freaking huge,
Right. No, I'm not downing you for that. But yeah, you're right. You're a big man for wrestling, but you are not the monster of among men, right?
No, definitely not that. I'd like to be. That'd be cool. But
Right. Would love that. I still have some time to work on it, but let's talk about that later.
Oh yeah. I won't be too old for wrestling by the time I hit that milestone.
Stop it. You could be Ric Flair wrestling until your 70s, 80s, damn well. Hey, I just saw Tony Atlas. Tony Atlas is 79 and put on a hell of a match in New Jersey last weekend.
That's what's up.
Yeah. I mean, he's more fit now than I will ever hope to be. So I'm not even going to attempt that. But you're right. You talked about coming out of the curtain. And I want to give you a quick story because nobody knows this, and you're going to be the first.
Nice.
I just came back from a show last night, as recording, guys, announcing and everything. I've always just walked out, started announcing everything. The promoter said, "Hold on a minute, I got something for you." I'm like, okay. They played the intro to the podcast, my Can Crushers intro, and he's like, "You're going to wait 30 seconds into this and go out, and then you're going to feel something you've never felt before in your life." And I've been announcing, here and there for about 5 years. But when they played my legit entrance music, oh my God, was it a different level coming through that curtain? Like, I'm a crier, Jordan. As soon as I walked out, I'm like, this is pretty fucking cool.
That's so awesome, though.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
It really is. It really is. So, yeah, that happened legit last night, and I'm like, yeah, that's why I'm so Jones today. So first match in, now into 4 years, and we're getting there for the big question, but like move sets, because I've seen clips, I haven't seen full matches, this, that, and the other thing. Like, who move set are you like, yeah, because I do see some, and trust me, I have them written down. If you want me to send you a picture right now as we're on the phone, I have my 3 written down. Who are you really looking at saying, this is me, but don't give me who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Like compare my moveset to like another wrestler that I look up to, like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And it changes constantly.
Right, and it should.
Man. Okay. I would say, can I like mix two people?
Oh, you can mix it. You can throw out 90 people if you want to, but yeah.
I would say right now, it'd probably be a mixture between Razor and maybe Jericho.
Okay. Well, let's pull this down then. This is the question: who is Jordan Carlyle? I want to know the whole deets and everything, but here are my 3 people that I have you as.
Okay.
Because of the shirt, literally, when I saw the first promo picture that you sent to me before we talked, before I looked anything into you, I'm like, this guy loves Razor Ramon. So that was it. Boom. Razor's on the list.
Got that.
Miz, because you can talk. And I think Miz is one of the, as much as people are like, oh my God, he's getting tired, listen, the guy's laughing to the bank the rest of his life, whatever he does in WWE. So Miz, because you got that swagger, I think. I really do. I think you got that Miz swagger. I wasn't going to pick Jericho, so I'm going to throw Jericho out for your moveset. This isn't a slap, and it's not more of the extreme. It's just more of the bigger. I see a lot of Tommy Dreamer in you, too. Like, just your fluency that Tommy has to make sure everything is landed. So, yeah, Miz, Razor, and Tommy Dreamer were my 3 once I saw, like, clips and stuff of you.
So definitely 2 out of 3, because I don't think a lot of people appreciate how good The Miz really is, because he gets a lot of hate, but I mean, also that hate means that he's doing his job because he's a heel.
Right.
Tommy Dreamer, that's what I've never thought of before. That's somebody I've never been compared to, but now I'm intrigued by it. And I definitely going to check out some more Tommy Dreamer matches because I want to see where you've made that connection.
You're fluent. Again, clips that I've seen, I look at, it is really stupid stuff. It just depends when, I write this down and everything, how my mind is. It was like, oh, that punch was like a Tommy punch, or that was this, or that was this. And it's of the day. So take it as you may. But
oh, yeah. No, I love that. That's great.
So 2 out of 3. That's definitely about 500. So
I think the Tommy Dreamer one is a huge compliment. So, yeah.
Nice. Who are you watching now, though? Like, I mean, not that you're going to go watch Tommy as soon as we get done hanging up or anything, but who are you watching that you're taking tape study for, and how far back do you go? Are you getting into the 80s, or, I'm sure Bobby says there's even stuff before the 80s. I revert back to the 80s all the time because kids these days think the 80s are a million years ago. So for them to watch like Larry Zbyszko or Greg Gagne or somebody like that, they're like, I don't even know what the hell that is. But how far do you go back?
Definitely 80s. I mean, I'll go back as far as I need to. I've definitely watched stuff in the 70s and so forth, but 80s and 90s is my jam. I watch stuff now too, but I don't watch it as consistent. Like, I don't watch the shows every week. I'll catch up with like pay-per-views. I'll watch clips on YouTube. But lately, I'm really into watching like 80s promos. And lately I've been watching a lot of Dusty Rhodes.
Nice. That's my boy.
He was so good. Like there's an account on Instagram called like No Context Dusty, I think is what it's called. And they'll just like post little clips, and they're so good. And then like I'll go on YouTube and try to watch the full thing to try to get the story of what was going on. But lately, yeah, I've been watching a lot of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, that's iconic. So good for you to find. Not that you didn't have to find Dusty; he's out there. But
no, yeah.
To say I can always learn from that.
Mm-hmm. And I think we need to see more of like 80s style in wrestling today. I mean, there was like now I think it's really polished. Like everything, like there's so many athletic wrestlers out there that can make these moves look so smooth, like great transitions. But the thing about like the 80s and 90s was like it looked like a fight because there was it wasn't perfect.
Right. I thank you. I think I've been waiting 5 years for somebody to say that. Not that I still don't love wrestling, and I get on Ricochet of all the people for everything he does. He's super athletic.
Yeah.
You can't do handsprings and somersaults and like that perfect every time. I want to see somebody swing for a big haymaker and kind of trip, because that happens in real fights. It really does.
And that's something I really miss. And I'm not like crapping on like modern wrestling. Like,
I'm not either.
Because there's so many good wrestlers out. Like I love Roman Reigns. You know, I love Seth Rollins. I love The Miz. Like, yeah, I kind of want to go back to that because I hear so many people talk crap about The Miz, but I think he's awesome. You know, I mean, that's his catchphrase.
Yeah. Wow, you put your foot in your mouth there. No, but
yeah. But no, I think he's great. I mean, there's not a lot of people out there that can, you know, do promos like that anymore.
Right. So is that what you're working on the most right now? Kind of like in training and everything, you feel comfortable with your moves, but you want more promo work?
Yeah, definitely more promos, more storytelling, you know, ring psychology, make everything make sense. Because you could go in there and hardly take a bump and make the crowd go crazy, you know?
Yeah. Yes. If you can tell the story, we say it all the time, and I'm sure Bobby has told you too. You don't have to do a move to make something memorable. You remember the stories more than the match.
Yeah, it's how you do everything, put it all together that you've learned through training to make it a great match.
Yep. All right, so one more question before we kind of skimper away from wrestling for a minute. And you brought this up that you're a big 80s fan, so this really switches right back to the territories. One, I guess it's a two-part question. One, what territory of the 80s do you think you would fit in? And mine just popped into my head right off the bat where I think you're going to go. And two, do you think the territories can make a comeback now?
Okay. So I'll answer the last one first. I think so. Because I mean, with like the indies, like the independents becoming so big now, because I think it is. I think it's, you know, coming back.
I do too.
Absolutely. I mean, we're seeing like NWA make a comeback. I'm just seeing just all over YouTube. And plus, I'm also in the wrestling business, so that probably helps a little bit too.
Right. Yeah, for sure. But
going to all these shows, being a part of them, I'm seeing a huge comeback. Like I'm seeing the crowds get bigger. Yeah. So to answer that one, I could definitely see the territories come back. Which one would I fit in with? God, I'd want to be down Florida, like down south somewhere.
Exactly. Florida Championship Wrestling is instantly where I put you. When I thought of that, I'm like, that's where you belong. You kind of, and I don't know why I didn't say my gram or anything like that as well in your thing, but you fit that. You know, you're down there, and I think Florida would have been a great spot for you.
And even though like I'm originally from a pretty heavily redneck part of the country, like that's never been a part of me, even though that's where I've grown up. Like I went to high school on a farm.
Okay.
But I've just never been like, hey, bub, how you doing there, Val? Like, what's going on? You know, that's never been me. So, yeah. Definitely somewhere like Florida would be great.
Yeah, especially.
What was the second question you had?
The second one was essentially where would indies come back? I put those two together. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You just killed me with not saying hi, bub, and everything. One, going to Florida, listen, I know your winters are horrible where you are, so to get out of the snow would be amazing, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big cold weather person. Like, my favorite part of traveling was, like, I camped in the desert in New Mexico. It was probably the best day of my life. Like, you know what? Not being around trees, you know, like, this is great. I love this.
I hear you. All right, let's take a break from wrestling for a couple seconds. And day off stuff. You know, do you still, you said yes and no a little bit, but are you still dabbling in music? What else do you do? What else do you nerd out about? Video games, Funko Pops. You still collecting action figures too?
No, I'm like, so whenever I was a kid, like I was thinking like, I can't wait to be an adult, have a job so I can collect all the action figures, like video games, everything. And now that I'm an adult, like I don't collect anything. Like I haven't played music in a couple of years. I haven't given up on it, but it's just one of those things that all my musicians friends, you know, they're all family people. It's hard to find time to get everybody together. I think what I'd probably do if I want to get back into music is maybe start a home studio, build up my own sound, and then try to bring in people to, you know, if I want to tour again, that sort of thing. But yeah, on the day off, I just come home and I'll watch wrestling matches. I'll listen to music, drink some beer. That's my perfect day off. That's
your perfect day off. That's a great day off.
That's today. Today's the day. I'm on a podcast. I love podcasts. I mean, I've been in the studio numerous times in my life. Like this is my jam. Like this is the perfect day off right now.
I agree. I'm going light today, so I just have a Miller Lite beside me. So I agree. Listen, I got home 3:00 in the morning. Family let me sleep until they all went to work and everything. I woke up.
Oh yeah. Since we started, I've had a chilada, which I know a lot of people don't like. A lot of people give me crap about liking chiladas, but I love them. Because it's like a beer version of Bloody Mary.
I saw those. Listen, and I'm not slamming where you are or anything, but we get stuff after it is exported to Guam. I saw the chiladas, the Bud Light chiladas, for the first time this week, and I'm like, what in the Jesus is this?
Really? I've been drinking those for years. Like, if you like Bloody Marys and you like beer,
it's worth it then? I want to try one. I do like Bloody Mary, especially when you're down at the beach and, you know, family vacation and you're just cronked from the night before just to keep it going in the morning. Yeah, that's what you drink.
It really is like a good morning after kind of beer. Like, yeah, like, because it's almost like a meal in its own. I mean, you got the tomatoes and everything else that's in it, and it's beer. So, I mean, if you're a little bit hungover the next morning, a chilada is like the best thing to do.
Duly noted. I will have to get some for this weekend. Actually, for next weekend, because we have a big prediction show between, you know, the Night of Champions and the Double or Nothing. So we drink heavily on that weekend show, and then I don't wake up again on Sundays for a long time. So maybe the chilada on that Sunday is a great idea.
God, is it both on the same night?
No, one Saturday because it's in Saudi, so it's gonna be like 1:00 our time, and then Sunday is AEW's. So, yeah, wrestling fans will not be showering or leaving their house for a week.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of wrestling fans that don't shower anyway, so I mean, there's
touche, and we know them. Yeah, these are the perfect days off when you just do nothing. How many times you hit the gym a week? Is it an everyday thing or what?
I aim for 5 days a week, but sometimes, you know, work and everything. Yeah. 3 is like the magic number, which it really is. I don't know if you've heard the song or not. Schoolhouse Rock.
Yep.
3 is the magic number. But yeah, I like to aim for 5.
Okay.
And I like to be there for at least an hour, just kind of depending on how I'm feeling. I recently started getting this pre-workout. It like, I'm pretty sure it's just a legal version of cocaine.
Don't put it out there. Please don't put out what it is.
It's not cocaine. I will put that out there. It's not cocaine.
Okay.
But yeah, I got it in like about like 20 minutes after because I just, you know, I mix it with a little bit of water and I just chug it. So about 20 minutes after, it gives this like pins and needles kind of thing to it. And at first I thought, I was like, is this like a heart attack? What is it? And then I talked to somebody else about it and they're like, no, they're like, some people like that, some people hate that, but it's, I guess just part of it. I don't know. This is the first time I've ever dabbled in that kind of stuff, because I'm all about like just eating, baked chicken, rice, potatoes, that sort of thing. That's usually my, pre-workout, post-workout meal that, so I'm just now dabbling into the pre-workouts and all that fun stuff.
Once I hit the off button, I need to know that, because listen, if it gives you that much boost in 20 minutes, there's times, reverting back to the garbage job, my body doesn't get going for about an hour or so into it, so I'm dragging ass. If this is going to give me a bump in the morning for that, maybe I need some legal cocaine as well.
Yeah, here's the thing, that it's like really expensive, so
right.
If you just want to use it for work, then go for it. But yeah, because that's how I am. It's like I want to use it so bad in the morning before I go to work, just to get that boost. But then at the same time, like, I kind of want to save it for all the gym, going to the gym and all that.
Right. Yeah, you're using it correctly. I'm the one that's going to be, standing on the corner selling, I don't know, something else to get my legal crack now.
That's how I want to use it, though. Like, I want to use it the wrong way, but yeah, at the same time, got to think about money and all that dumb stuff.
Adulting sucks sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, whenever I was a kid, thinking about, like, I can't wait to be an adult so I can have all, like, the biggest action figure collection and all that. And then I get to be an adult, it's like, man, I can't even pay the bills most of the time. This sucks.
Yeah. And listen, back when I was buying wrestling figures, I mean, LJNs were out, but then they slowly trickled to the Hasbros and then the Jacks and whatever the hell they're called today. They were really only, and I sound like my grandfather, I walked uphill both ways at school in snow, They were really only $5. So with $20, I could buy 3 or 4 of them. That's one if you're lucky now.
And if there's like a wrestler, or they come out with like a special edition or something, like the price is so jacked up. It's like, man, I got to make my car payment this month. I can't.
Right? I have a mortgage. I have a kid getting ready to college. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I have advice for younger wrestlers.
That's my next question. Good. Go at it.
So my advice to them, don't talk about money in your car, because, and I've learned this, your car can hear you. And if you talk about money in your car, it's going to be like, oh, I guess this part's just going to break out of nowhere. That's going to cost $300.
That's the truth.
It sounds crazy. Like, it sounds insane, but I swear that, like, I swear cars can hear you talk about money.
That is the God honest truth, because revert back. I hope you have a long time, because I'm having a blast, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm not doing nothing.
Revert back to December. It was the last car payment on the car that I had for like 5 years, and it's still running great, and I'm bragging I don't have a car payment. Didn't the local druggie just rear end my car and total it? Now, granted, I got the money for that, and I got a new Jeep and this, that, and the other thing, but it's true. I was just like, my juke is paid off now. This is awesome. We can start putting money into more college fund, this, that, and the other thing. No. Boom. See you later.
Before that last payment, were you thinking like, all right, what's going to happen to this thing? I'm about to pay it off. Something's about to happen.
No, I was honestly you just made me think of that. I was just thinking, holy shit, I might be getting ahead in life.
Oh, gosh.
The car says, no, you didn't.
Maybe I'm too pessimistic, because maybe I've had too many bad things happen over time. But like anytime, because I'm about to pay this car off that I have now, but it's already at 172,000 miles. So I'm already waiting for it to bite the dust before I pay it off.
It's lived a good life, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's lived through 3 years of 4-hour round trips driving to training and shows, 2 to 3 times a week. During the pandemic, I did DoorDash like full time for like 2 years.
Oh my God.
Which, by the way, that was, anybody that does DoorDash knows that was like the golden era of DoorDash. Like I would make $100 just being out for a few hours. Like only doing like, not even like 10 deliveries, not even going that many miles, because everybody was stuck at home.
Now everybody's a Karen. There's no tips. Yeah. There's nothing. You owe them now.
It's the word. Yeah, yeah. Pretty much, you're doing is it a charity for other people.
Yeah, I have friends that do it down like Louisville and Pittsburgh and everything. They're like, I don't know why I'm still doing this, Mark. I make just enough. It used to be I'm, big time rich, throwing money around like the $1 Million Man or something.
That's how I felt. I felt like Ted DiBiase whenever I was door dashing back during the pandemic. Even though that was a terrible time.
Right. We make light of it now, and I'm glad we're getting out of it because there's still lingering effects. But yeah,
I'm not glamorizing the fact that a whole bunch of people died, but that part of my life was so awesome.
Again, back to the Miz.
Yeah, back to the. It was great though. Like it sucked because back whenever with training and everything, we did some. This isn't with FTC. This is with the other promotion that I used to be with. We did like some of the no audience shows on Twitch, tried to raise money, that sort of thing. So I really missed live audiences. That was the worst part. But everything else, like money was good. I get to have so much time just to stay home, kind of work on stuff that I've always wanted to work on.
Right.
And, yeah. But now we're back to normal, as they say.
Again, we're not glamorizing this. I was so jealous of everybody that had months off because listen to the Garbage Man. We didn't get months off. We were.
Oh yeah, they're still garbage.
Yeah, they're still garbage. I'm not saying I'm essential, but essentially essential enough to clean up your town. And I'm like, these son of a bitches are getting money just to sit at home and play video games, doing whatever during these horrible times. Here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am. Whoa.
I did try. I gained a lot of weight during the pandemic. That was which I don't weigh a whole lot, but where gyms were shut down.
Right.
And I was still eating like I was trying to build muscle and everything. So I just gained all that weight. I tried to make a gym in my garage, which I didn't have much equipment. I just had a barbell and some extra free weights. It wasn't enough. Yeah.
Was it good weight or was it stickers and bonbons and chips? Were you still trying to eat well, or you're like, I don't know when this is going to come back, so I might as well enjoy, strawberry ice cream every night?
Oh, yeah. Well, good. For me, I've never been a person that likes a lot of sweets, so I got lucky on that one. But I was still, yeah. I love beer.
Yes.
And if you're exercising, trying to look fit and all that, you got to work it off. And just having a little gym in my garage wasn't enough to, keep it going.
Right. So we brought up beer a couple times. This is definitely not on the docket, but we're going to bring it up. What is your favorite beer? If you could only drink one the rest of your life.
I want to say Guinness.
Wow.
I've always liked Guinness. I think because it's not as bubbly as most other beers.
Right.
It just kind of goes down so smooth. So that's also another reason why I gained a lot of weight during the pandemic, was because I was drinking a lot of Guinness, and it's such a dark, heavy beer.
I was just going to say, how many Guinnesses can you drink in one night? Because it is heavy. The first one, you can slam it, and then it just starts filling your gut up.
Well, this also might be a blessing in disguise, but I have a bladder the size of a coin purse. So
Hey, Grandpa, how you doing?
Yeah, it goes through pretty quickly. But yeah, I have... with wrestling, being a musician, I've built up the tolerance over the years.
Good boy.
Yeah.
we don't need to give that number out then. Good boy.
It's up there, but
I hear
it's
you.
not a number, but it's up there.
Yeah. I'm a Sam Adams guy. If I could only pick one, the rest of Sam Adams, Yingling. Guinness is on the list, but it is a Guinness is a delicacy, because I know if I'm going to buy a $900 case of Guinness, it is drink one, enjoy it, put it away. Don't just down them all in one night. So
yeah. Okay. So Yeah. If I choose one to drink for the rest of my life, Guinness. But budget-wise, I'm usually like a Miller Lite kind of person.
Yeah, that's what is the household beer. You know, when I know people are coming over and they're not Yingling or Sam drinkers, the Miller Lite is the one that they go to. So yeah. Derailment on Can Crushers. All right. What is what is the best advice that you've gotten from somebody in professional wrestling, not at the beer drinking competition?
Shut up and listen. That's the best advice. I mean, if you're being taught by people who have been somewhere, know what they're talking about, take it everything that they say and learn from it. That's all you can really do. I mean, aside from actually just showing up every time you're supposed to show up for training. But
Right.
yeah, shut up and listen.
This has turned into my favorite question on the show. Wrestling has, you know, the stigma from like the 80s, from the old school club and all the way up. And it is changing, but there's still some dirtiness in there wrestling. And I hate that. If I could change everything, I would. But if you could change one thing in professional wrestling that makes it, you know, and I'm going to use the word inclusive, what would that one thing be?
Well, let's see. Man, I don't know if this is what I covered from earlier, but I love imperfections. I don't like the polished look as much.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I enjoy it. I love the imperfections. Bring imperfections back. I don't like calling it in the back. I like the beginning, middle, end.
Right. I get it. I really do get it. And you've talked me into this, that I'm waving your flag. I mean, I always thought that, but I thought, all right, we're in a different era now, that this is what we're going to get, and a lot of shows are taped and we're going to edit. And I mean, I know indie shows aren't taped and everything, but they're going to do the spot over and they're going to edit out that people at home aren't going to see it. They're going to make it perfect when they want to make it perfect. And it's not always perfect. So I like that answer.
Yeah.
I really do.
Got the million different camera cuts to make something look better. I hate that. I don't want to have a seizure while I'm watching wrestling at home.
I don't want to look at the crowd every 5 minutes. Not that I hate the crowd, because a lot of Can Crusher fans are in the crowd. I don't need to see Bob Smith every freaking show.
Yeah. I had to silence my phone because apparently there's some group chats out there that are really active today. But
I silenced mine. I don't know if you hear the computer. It doesn't end up on the show. The computer's going crazy. The computer is going from last night's show. It's just going nuts. And I'm like, oh, God, stop.
Yeah. And another crazy thing about being in the wrestling business now is, like, you know, I've had plenty of friends that are musicians, you know, close friends through school over the years. Most of the people I see now are just other wrestlers. Like, over the years, it's kind of dwindled down to, I just talk to wrestlers now and people in the business.
Yeah. I have one essential good friend that I still talk to. Everybody else is, yeah. And I talk to more wrestlers than I talk to family a week.
Yeah, I actually did last night go hang out with some old friends, and we were like, oh, wow, we haven't hung out in like 4 years. But it's felt like it's been, just a couple. Yeah. Then once I catch up with old friends, like, wow, man, it's been almost a decade or half a decade or so.
Right. That's what you're doing now. I thought you fell off the face of the earth. Cool.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just also being an adult. Everybody goes to work. They get lost in, their own personal lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I've had friends before, get butthurt, like, why don't you hang out with me anymore? It's like, we all got lives, man. And it ain't nothing to get upset about. That's just how it is.
Yeah, it's that thing, again, I brought up adulting. Sometimes adulting sucks. It's just, sometimes you shuffle through, sometimes you skip through. It's just what life is. You have to make the best of it.
And that also kind of goes into who I am as a wrestler. It's like, I'm from Vegas. Right. I always liked always like movies like Casino. Like I, kind of wanted to put myself out as like a pit boss or something like that.
Ocean's 11 then too just popped in my head, kind of like that too.
Oh, yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Nice. Goals.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Goals for the rest of this year. What are your goals for 2023?
I want to get out and work for some more promotions. Work as much as I can, do as many matches as possible. Because it might not seem like it to a lot of people, but there's money out there to be made, and I'd rather be going out, having some wrestling matches, cutting promos, doing that sort of thing, than just having an everyday job.
Yeah, no doubt. I hear you there. How many states have you checked off your bucket list, essentially, then? Do you know? And I'm not saying that mean.
No, just 3. I'm in the tri-state of Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. And I think for wrestling, those are great states to be in. I definitely want to get into a lot more. So yeah, just in wrestling, I've gone to 3. In music, I counted it not too long ago. I think it was like 38 states I've been in.
Wow, that's great on both aspects. It really is both. Pennsylvania one that you'd like to check off the list this year?
Absolutely, yeah. There's a guy up in Illinois that wants to get me booked up there too. I definitely, because Pennsylvania is not far away from us.
No.
Yeah, like you said, it's like a 6-hour drive.
I'm closer to the New York border than I am to anything else in Pennsylvania. I'll put it that way. So Don't count me. But for you to like Pittsburgh or something is probably only 3 hours.
It might be. I don't know, because I was talking about this with somebody else the other day. Where I'm in Ironton, Ohio, right now. We're kind of in a sweet spot because we're in like a 2-hour drive of like so many different big cities, like 2-hour drive from Charleston, West Virginia, 2-hour drive from Columbus, Ohio, like 2.5 maybe hour drive to Cincinnati, Ohio, 2-hour drive to Lexington, Kentucky. So, we definitely got options.
Louisville is where you should look too at OVW. You should definitely, that's a great place to go to.
I've met some of the guys from down there too. Like, yeah, that'd be definitely a good place to go check out. That is one of the first places I wanted to go to, but you know how money is. Like, just getting into some wrestling schools, it's like, man, I feel like I got to be a trust fund kid just to get into some of these places.
I have to sell my lung to get into wrestling. I need them to breathe.
I gotta sell an organ just to be a wrestler, just to get beat up. Damn.
I hear you. After 2023, and I know we're skipping ahead. Like a 5-year goal. How? Yeah. AEW Dark and Elevation, those aren't around as of recording right now. If you're listening years later or whatever, but what goals in say like 5 years? Where do you want to be? You're old by then, by the way. You're old by then.
Yeah. Yes. So.
I'm sorry. I had to.
No, I think about this all the time because, I kind of have not much time left on my clock as opposed to other people that just get started into this. And I'm already, 4.5 to 5 years in. I definitely want some experience working with the bigger companies, even if it's just like maybe like a dark match or being like an extra. Like I want to get into as much as I can. Of course, everybody says I want to be in WWE or I want to be in AEW. Everybody does.
I do. I agree.
Yeah. But I think just having a realistic goal, just seeing everything, and I'm not like doubting myself.
No, but you're realistic. And I'm not slapping anybody. Before everybody's like, oh my God, Mark, you beat the shit out of Jordan on the show. I'm not. We're being real. Listen, I'm not. At the age of 46, I know, and I'm not training to be a wrestler, but even color commentary, this, that, or the other, I don't know if that's going to happen. But I want to eat off of the buffet. That would be like, I did it.
And I've never been into, like, I like watching. I don't watch it a lot, but I like some of the deathmatch wrestling, but I would never do one unless they paid my freaking, hospital bill, that kind of thing. It's like, if you're paying, hey, is there a paycheck? Great. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm going out I'm a worker. I want to go out to make money.
Right. So you just brought up deathmatch. Again, I didn't think it would be with your glamorous looks and everything. I didn't expect deathmatch ever to be brought up during this podcast. What is the one weapon then that you want to be impaled by? Because then there's got to be something you're like, man, I wouldn't mind taking a gusset plate off the head or something. What do you want?
Like what would I take?
Yeah, and then what do you want to give as well?
I think thumbtacks will be fine. Like, I mean, I've been cut up before. Like, I've worked on like hay farms, like baling hay. You get cut up all the time doing that kind of stuff. So, I mean, to me, a little bit of blood that ain't nothing. But it's like the impacts, getting hit with like big things. Glass always kind of scared me.
Yeah. You don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, and you don't know how hard it's gonna be to get it out.
Yeah. The light bulb shots when I watch deathmatch scare me more than a cheese grater or, barbed wire or anything, because I'm my mom's son. I worry about everyone. Like, oh my God, they should be wearing glasses in this. And then it's like, you can't wear glasses or goggles in it, Mark. Stop being Helen and stuff. I worry that.
The magic.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, and that's not something I'm actually looking for. I'm not looking for doing like death matches or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, hey, if the paycheck's big enough, are they going to pay?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Again, reverting back to the $1 Million Man, everybody's got a price.
Oh yeah, everybody's got a price. And yeah.
So
and I'm just in this for money. I just want to make money doing what I love doing. That's it.
Right. If this could be your full time for years to come, I support you. I hope it happens. I hope that click comes and says, hey, Jordan's here. Jordan's doing this. Jordan is, boom, making money and taking care of his family. That's cool.
Yeah. Even if I just got to the point where wrestling was like majority of the money, of my income, to me, I've made it,
Yep. So I want some dream matches. You can do as many as you want. All right. If you want to bring up some locals that you really want to be in the ring with that you weren't. But then I want that mega one. And they can be farce. If somebody a la Razor is not here anymore, we can both reincarnate you guys in your prime and everything. But the main one I want, where, who, and what stipulation. So.
Ooh. Gosh. It has to be alive?
No, they don't. That's why I said if it is Scott Hall, so to speak, we'll reincarnate him. Can Crushers has the power to do that, by the way.
Nice. And this is really stuff I don't really think about. Like, I hear other wrestlers talking about this all the time, like dream matches. That's never really been me. So actually, this is a very tough question. Okay. So dream match, and I really hope this happens. I want to see The Miz versus MJF.
Nice.
Because I want to see the lead up, like the promo battle. Like, I want to see the build up to a match like that.
I agree. That would be amazing. That would be, and hey, the contract of 2024 is right around the corner for MJF.
Yeah. Gosh. So, I mean, it's always a possibility. Like, I mean, in something like wrestling, nothing's impossible. So, it'll probably happen at one point.
I would imagine it would. But how about you? Who's your dream opponent?
Oh, right now, I want to match with Brock's Boulder. Because we had back in February, we had a fatal four-way. It was for whenever he was the Art of Grappling champion. We had a fatal four-way. It was the first time I've ever stepped in a ring with him. And I was so excited. But then you got you got other guys in the match. I've always wanted a one-on-one match with him.
Brock's, come on. Bobby, you're listening. Make this happen. How about we make this happen for I don't know, an event that's right around the corner? That would be awesome.
Because, I mean, we go to the same wrestling school, to me, it would be a great match. And now, even though he's not like the Art of Grappling champion, Caleb Throne is, And Brock's right now is, the tag champs with Titan Troy. And even though there's no championship stipulation, I don't even care about that. I just think it would be a great match. And I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet, honestly.
Yeah. Again, 5 years into the business, how haven't you really crossed paths with him, essentially?
No idea. no clue. But we did have the fatal 4-way. And I don't know if you've seen videos of that match, but I ended up, me and Josh Benson, we handcuffed him to the corner. I did blast him in the face while he was handcuffed, but I mean, in the heat of the moment, what are you going to do?
You have to.
Yeah. But yeah, we handcuffed him, and match ended while the champ was handcuffed at the corner. So, in a way, I was the reason that he lost that belt.
So he should be having a beef about you as well, then.
Yeah, I did do his podcast after that match, and it was a pretty heated, episode that he had. It was a pretty good one, but because he should definitely be more mad at me than me mad that I didn't end up being champion. Because he lost his title. I didn't even win it though, but at the same time, I was kind of the reason why he lost it.
You are the reason. You essentially you handcuffed him and cold talked him. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Brox, if you're listening, you need to call him out. That's all it is. It needs to happen.
Anytime, I'm 100% down.
All right, Jordan, give us your socials. And again, guys, listen, FTC Art of Grappling, they have an event coming up on June 3rd. Matches, make sure you go to their socials. Matches are going to be announced here shortly. I don't know exactly when, but I know here shortly the card will start running down. Hopefully Jordan's on it. Hopefully it's Jordan Brox, as I talk this into fruition right now. But yeah, get out there, support indie wrestling across the board. If it's in your hometown and you're not there each and every night, get out of your basement. Get out of your basement because you love wrestling in the first place. Go support these guys. These are the stars of the future with the young kids. You have everything. I love indie wrestling, how it just feeds into everything else. Continue to support wrestling across the board. But all right, Jordan, give us your socials. Do you have any merch that you're going to sell? Where else are you going to be here in the near future?
I'm working on merch right now. On Instagram, you can find me at thejordan.carlyle. On Facebook, just look up Jordan Carlyle. You'll find me there. And yeah, we got a show coming up. I'm holding it up now because I am very terrible with remembering dates. Okay, so Saturday, June the 3rd, we'll be at the Art of Grappling Facilities FTC show. It's going to be called Breakdown. It's going to be great. I hope I see everybody there. And by the way, I do hate social media. I try my best. I know it's important these days.
It's unbelievable how important it is. Like each and every wrestler needs an assistant. And I know, listen, off of wrestlers' money, you can't pay assistants. So you need an intern buddy of yours that just doesn't mind doing it. But if you don't do socials, or I'm not patting anybody else on the back or myself on the back for podcasts, but if you're not doing them, you're really not getting everything out of your career, right?
Right, exactly. Like I always check it just to make sure I'm not getting, see if I'm getting messages or anything else. But posting, I'm terrible about. I'm trying to get better at it. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm always on there. If you message me, I'll message you back.
There you go. Did I miss anything? Do you want to talk about anything else? I mean, yeah, I love this conversation. We went from wrestling to beer. The only thing I didn't ask you is, how do you eat your cereal?
Oh, I'm more of a like turkey sausage and eggs and peppers kind of breakfast, but cereal. I don't know. If I do have a bowl of cereal though, it's going to be one of those like popcorn bowls.
Okay, but how do you? Maybe I rephrased it. How do you make your cereal then? Are you a sociopath or are you a normal human being is what I'm getting to.
Oh, I don't pour the milk first. That's an insane person. Okay,
thank you. Bring that back around. Yeah, because you're a lunatic if you put the milk in first.
Yeah, that's like the whole toilet paper thing. That's like, do you put it under or over? To me, it's under.
Why? Why is it under? Now we're gonna fight. I had a great podcast with you, but why are you pulling it?
It seems neat. It feels like it's easier to tear. You just pull down, but if it's going over, if you pull down, you're gonna unreel the whole roll.
You know you have another hand to hold it as you rip it, right?
Well, usually it's on my phone, but
see, that's so you're a social media scroller as you're pooping. Great. Now you just release that to the public.
I'm a scroller, not a poster. That's all it is.
Right. You're nosy. You want to see what everybody.
I want to see what everybody else is up to. I'm not going to give them my business because it's none of their business. It's my business. But if they want to put theirs out there, I'll watch it.
Right. Nobody needs to know besides this what's going on in Jordan Carlyle's life. It's his own life.
Hey, I'll any shows that I have, I promote. I do that whole thing. Anytime I have a show, I'll put out promos. Anything aside from, I did post a gym promo once, or not a gym promo, but a gym picture once. But yeah, aside from that, that's all they get.
Wrap this all back around because it was Mom and your aunt that got you into professional wrestling. They come out every show?
And I'm not going to make it sad, they both passed away. So they're no longer around. And honestly, whenever my mom passed away, I'll give this quick story. She was in a nursing home, and they were like, "Hey, your mom passed away. Do you want to come, see her before they, take her away?" I was like, "Absolutely, I'll be down there." And I went to, see the body, and I was looking around the room. She had like memorabilia of me touring, and then also she had she had like a bunch of like wrestling like signs she had at shows. She had like wrestling pictures, that sort of thing. And I was just kind of looking around like, maybe this is kind of a sign, piece it together. So that's something else that made me want to start.
One, I'm sorry, but two, that just gave me the chills. That is so apropos. That is awesome.
Yeah. No, that's real life. That's something we're all going to go through eventually. And yeah, that's it. That's real life.
It is. Jordan, this has been a blast. Thank you so much for coming on Can Crushers. I hope to make it down to the June 3rd show. I hope, Brock, I said I wasn't going to call you out, but listen, I don't know. I want to see Jordan punch you in the face again, I think.
Oh, I love fighting him. Just give me the opportunity anytime.
Brock is going to stop sending people to be on the podcast because he's like, dude, I loved you when I was on the podcast. Now all you're doing is shitting on me every time.
I will say something very positive about Brock's Boulder. He is really great with working with like a lot of the newer students, kind of showing them what he's learned from Bobby Blaze. He's great.
Yeah.
But I would love to beat him up. He's somebody that he's been their champion. He was their champion for a very long time. That's somebody who I want to have a match with.
Right. Make him a stepping stone for Jordan to be that champion for a really long time.
Oh, yeah. But no, this has been fantastic. I've loved this conversation. I'd do this any other time. If you ever want to have me back, I'm game.
All the time. We'll talk more about your matches. We'll talk about wrestling as of like today. And, I'm going to make you do some homework study and watch whatever pay-per-views, talk about those. Yes, I'm always open and willing. I love these conversations, especially on a day that we're both not doing anything and drinking beer. I love this.
I'm definitely going to be watching some Tommy Dreamer after this. So, yeah, that's on my list for the rest of the day.
Cool. I love that. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on the show, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Well, it sounds like Mark the Mark has found another beer drinking buddy when he goes to a wrestling show with. Already making connections to hook up and have a few cold ones. Maybe we'll have a competition who can do the most getting out. I'm not even going to talk that one into fruition. Guys, Jordan Carlyle, how about his story? I completely love it. Didn't know, and we talked a little bit after, but Mom and Aunt got him into professional wrestling, and then that story at the end to wrap it all up to say, yeah, this is it. This is really it to get into professional wrestling. Humble. He's a humble human being. He loves the business. 5 years in, and this is cool. I could talk for hours with him. we could have just made this a beer podcast. I really think he's a connoisseur of beer too. Like he'd be able to talk about beer and all that. But 2 out of 3, huh? 2 out of 3 on the guesses for me. Instantly, as you heard and I alluded to in the intro, Razor Ramon, number 1, just by the picture that he sent me that is the thumbnail for this week's podcast. So that's pretty cool. Miz, listen, you can hear it. You can hear it in the way that he talks and everything, that he says he needs some work on promos, or the dude can talk. The dude can talk. So this is really cool. And Tommy, he didn't see it yet, but I gave him a homework assignment. So he's going to check out some Tommy stuff. So super excited to head to FTC Art of Grappling on June 3rd. So make sure you check that out. I hope I'm talking that into fruition, barring work, and everything happens, because I got a lot of friends there. Listen, Brox may hate me now, but I'll still go open-armed, looking for that big hug from the big teddy bear that he is. God, I don't know if I'm helping my cause or not, but nonetheless, it is what it is. Guys, support Jordan Carlyle. Jump on his Instagrams, his Facebook. Make him do some work. Make him do some work and get a little bit better on the socials. He says that's one of his downfalls. Get there. Make him talk to the fans. Even though, he's scrolling as he's pooping, that's the best time to reach out to him. Not that you know his poop schedule, but hey, shoot him a message at any time. He'll have to answer it, right? He'll have to answer it. Sorry, Jordan. God. All right, guys. Again, 988's the number. Mental Health Awareness Month. It's very important. You are enough. If you need help, reach out to them. But remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It is called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.